5 on your side at 10 starts now.
A push for procedure. St. Louis leaders introduce a new bill targeting controversial claims from the city's sheriff over his duties.
A weather impact alert day for severe storm potential Wednesday. Why the storm chances leading up to Wednesday are lower and less likely to produce severe weather.
Caught. The man suspected of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers, killing one of them, has been taken into custody after putting elected officials on high alert.
5 on your side starts now with breaking news.
Within the last half hour, we have learned that the man suspected of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses has been arrested. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush. Our Minneapolis affiliate is reporting 57-year-old Vance Bolter was arrested near his home in Silby County, Minnesota. That's about an hour outside of Minneapolis. The FBI and local law enforcement have spent all day there searching for him. Bolter allegedly impersonated a police officer when he shot and killed Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband and injured State Senator John Hoffman and his wife. The Associated Press tells us they found a car belonging to him in the area with evidence relating to the shooting inside. We'll continue to give you updates on this breaking news story on air and online at KSDK.com. We'll also continue to update on our free 5+ streaming app. Public servants in Missouri and Illinois are throwing their support behind Minnesota this weekend in light of the tragedy. New tonight, 5 on your side's Andy Kroll heard from local politicians and experts about how Saturday's killings could impact what running for office looks like in the future. Annie?
Mike, as more information comes to light regarding that suspect, Vance Bolter, many are questioning how this will affect the need for lawmakers to have increased protection provided by either the government or private security.
Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and Democratic State Senator John Hoffman were shot in their homes in what Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said on Saturday appeared to be a politically motivated assassination.
Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service.
Hortman and her husband Mark were killed. Hoffman and his wife Yvette were seriously injured. Democratic Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski posted on social media the same day saying, quote, "I'm horrified to learn that Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband have been killed, and Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and his wife remain hospitalized after a targeted shooting. Violence is absolutely never acceptable, and I urge everyone to stay safe as law enforcement works to apprehend the shooter." Police said they found a manifesto in the suspect Vance Bolter's car. Minnesota's Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson highlighted security has stepped up for some of the 70 targets on that list.
There is increased security in place for elected officials and others who may be at risk.
5 on your side's political analyst Anita Mannion emphasized what may change, especially at the local level when people consider running for office.
You're already volunteering your time, you're putting yourself out there, and now to think about putting your family at risk and yourself at risk, I think that's a real deterrent to people, not just for running for office, but certainly for that, but also for just speaking up about different things, for speaking out, for having areas of conflict.
President Donald Trump said such horrific violence will not be tolerated.
I don't really want to live in an environment where all of our elected officials need protection, but increasingly that feels like the environment we're in.
The Democratic Party of Illinois posted on Facebook yesterday saying in part, quote, "This was a horrifying act of political violence. It is painful, it is frightening, and it should never happen in a democracy."
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with the weather impact forecast, and it looks like we've got some storms to get through, including our first 90-degree day of the year, right, Scott?
Yes, and any storms we see for tomorrow and Tuesday, they don't look all that intense. Wednesday, though, is our weather impact alert day because there is the potential for some stronger storms with gusty winds and with hail. There's also the potential that something in the morning kind of knocks those chances down a bit. So just stay up to date on the forecast. All the ingredients appear to be in place for some of those storms to become strong and produce some hail and some gusty winds. But it's not like a setup we've seen so far this year out of anything else. And again, Wednesday, it's a cold front coming in from the north and west, and it's a pretty, warm and muggy scenario playing out. We've been highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. This is equivalent to a level 2 out of level 5 risk, and that's why we issued that weather impact alert. No no problems out there tonight, although there is just a little bit of sprinklage going on down to the south and southwest of St. Louis right now. Radar showing you that the showers and sprinkles are trying to push towards St. Louis and the Missouri River. That's about all we're going to see, we think, as we head through the evening, rest of the evening and overnight. We'll talk more about the storm chances for tomorrow, who has the best shot at it, in a few minutes, Mike.
Developing tonight, one person is dead, 2 others are injured after an overnight shooting near downtown St. Louis. This happened around 3 this morning near 9th and O'Fallon. Police say the victims were found more than 3 blocks away from the scene at 7th and Cole. One of the injured victims is in critical condition. The other is expected to be okay. Hours ago, police identified the woman hit and killed by a Cottleville Fire Protection District staff vehicle. Police say 26-year-old Stacy Youngers died at the scene near Dingledine and Stonecroft yesterday. The driver stayed at the scene. Police say both the driver and the Fire Protection District are cooperating with the investigation. Right now, police are searching for a 20-year-old who went missing in the Mississippi River. Officers say he went missing at 9:30 last night near Mason Island in St. Charles County. The 20-year-old was swimming with friends near a sandbar when his friends noticed he didn't resurface. Police and volunteer crews were out for hours last night and again this morning using sonar to search the river. Volunteers say they need more help to bring closure for the family.
If you're on the river out here, just keep an eye out. I mean, it's recovery at this point. There's no rescue. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And we're going out until we find them, until we physically can't go anymore.
The family does not want to reveal the young man's name. Witnesses say he was wearing pink swim trunks. The Missouri State Highway Patrol is leading the search. A bill is now in front of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen that clearly defines the duties of the St. Louis Sheriff's Office. This comes after the sheriff clashed with the Budget Committee earlier this month over some of the office's responsibilities. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski breaks down the bill and what's next.
On June 2nd, St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery appeared in front of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen Budget Committee to make his case to get more money for the sheriff's office.
What you're saying is we need this money, trust us, and the problem is that it is very hard to trust you.
During the meeting, transporting detainees who needed medical care came up as one of the problems. Montgomery temporarily refused to have deputies do it.
Those are the 4 core duties. Agreed?
No, we just can't. We just don't have the manpower to do it. You guys are asking me to, at one point, stick to your core duties. And I'm trying my best to stick to my core duties at the same time while asking me, but we need you to do this. It doesn't make sense to me, and it's confusing me as the sheriff.
As a result, Alderman Matt Devote introduced Board Bill 33, which spells out what the sheriff's office can and cannot do. The bill says the sheriff's office is required to serve court papers, protect the 22nd Judicial Circuit and Associate Courts, issue conceal and carry permits, and transport and protect detainees in the custody of the Department of Corrections, including to receive medical care. It says the office should not make arrests, conduct searches, investigate crimes, or otherwise enforce general criminal laws. Devote tells me, quote, this bill removes all doubt about the core duties of the sheriff's office while prohibiting the office from performing other services without board approval. Reporting in St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
The bill is currently being considered by the Board of Aldermen's Public Safety Committee. If it passes and is signed by the mayor, it would go into effect immediately. Well, just moments ago, the winner of the Bommarito 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway crossed the finish line. Tonight's big race was the first time in more than 5 years the track hosted a night race. And 5 on your side's Frank Cusimano was there for all the action. Frank.
Mike, thanks very much. You know, it was a wonderful night of racing here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Bommarito 500. They're calling it the biggest crowd since 2019. We've actually seen people from Japan at this race today and from Mexico. In terms of the racing, I want you to look at the finish, and it's going to be Kyle Kirkwood beating out Pato O'Ward to win the Bommarito 500. Kirkwood has had a terrific season. This is his 3rd victory of the season. He's a 26-year-old from Jupiter, Florida. We hope to hear from him during Sports Plus. Also during Sports Plus, there are women moving up the ranks on the IndyCar circuit. We're going to show you one, and she's from the St. Louis area. Plus, the Cardinals lost weekend in Milwaukee and won incredible U.S. Open. That's the story here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Mike, back to you.
Salvaging memories,
A World War II medal survives a scrapyard shredder.
It stood out like a sore thumb.
A miraculous find leading to a powerful reunion.
It blew my mind.
This disturbance, it brings us a chance of thunder tomorrow. Why Wednesday's storm threat has prompted us to issue a weather impact alert day, and what you need to know ahead of Wednesday's system.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
They say you can't destroy what's meant to survive. In tonight's Making a Difference report, a World War II Purple Heart defies a Missouri metal shredder and finds its way home to a grateful family in Wentzville. At Scrap Mart Metals in Jonesburg, Missouri, they turn metal into memories. But one memory just wouldn't melt. Every month, 14,000 tons of twisted steel pass through here. Cars, copper, and cast-offs are ground up, sorted, and forgotten.
When you shred a car will come out in tiny little pieces in 90 seconds.
But on one recent day, a glint of gold and purple caught the eye of picker Patrick Bloom.
The purple stood out the most. It stood out like a sore thumb.
What Patrick pulled from that conveyor belt was a World War II Purple Heart, completely intact, which defied all logic.
We get coins through this thing because, cars have coins in them, right. and they're unrecognizable. I mean, quarters are bent in half, and this thing's completely whole. The ribbon's still on.
There was a name etched on the back, just enough for Lucas and his staff to launch a mission. They turned detective, building family trees on Ancestry.com until they found Katie Kriedemeyer.
He told me that it had gone through the scrapper and that it had survived when things like coins and other things hadn't survived.
This is class of 1944.
The Purple Heart belonged to Charles Joseph Hall, who was a cousin and grew up in the same house as Katie's grandmother.
He had brown eyes.
Katie's dad was named for Charles Joseph.
He enlisted right out of high school and wanted to be a paratrooper, but they moved him to infantry, and then went to Europe and was killed 6 months later.
The family knew about the medal, but couldn't find it until now.
My mom lived in Warren County, and she had a car in her driveway that was no longer drivable, so she sold it to a guy down in the little town she lived by at the garage for spare parts and scrap.
And the Purple Heart must have been in the car.
And the dedication of those in the industry who handle them.
To honor the journey, Scrap Mart didn't just hand it over. They flew the family to San Diego to their national convention to return a nation's gratitude.
We were like celebrities there. It was like people coming up to us and wanting to meet us and take pictures of the medal and take pictures of us with the medal. And for them to make this big deal out of it, it was really cool.
The medal now sits safely in the family's hands. Decades late, but somehow right on time.
We wouldn't have this if it hadn't been for the kindness of complete strangers.
In a scrapyard full of shattered parts, one small medal held on, not just through steel, but through time, waiting to finally come home.
I think it was definitely meant to be, that's for sure.
Charles Joseph Hall is buried in an American military cemetery in Belgium, where a woman named Claudia has been caring for his grave through an Adopt a Grave program for the past 5 years. And a reminder, if you know someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com. Well, today dancers got to show off their culture in the final leg of a national competition. The 16th annual American Nacha Dance Competition was held at Clayton High. More than 200 finalists came from across the U.S. to compete and celebrate classical dance styles from India. Organizers say they hope events like this help show that St. Louis is a cultural city.
We want to make St. Louis a city of diversity. So it's very important. So it's in the Midwest, and we want to put light on St. Louis city as a place where dance is happening, a world dance is happening, and we are very proud of this city.
More than 1,500 people were expected to attend this weekend. All right, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoined us now with the weather impact forecast, talking about another Weather Impact Alert Day this week, Scott.
Yeah, Wednesday is going to be the day to watch. Now, there's a chance we'll have some showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We even have a few sprinkles on the radar tonight out to the west and southwest of St. Louis, but they haven't made it to St. Charles just yet. We're looking at the impacts. Monday and Tuesday, if we do see the showers and thunderstorms in your neighborhood, yeah, sure, that has at least some impact. But the storm threat is higher on Wednesday, and it's a severe threat. So that's our Weather Impact Alert Day. Thursday, drier air is pushing in, but only briefly. And then as we head into the weekend, why are you saying it's going to be mostly sunny? What are you talking about? There's some impact. Listen, the heat index in the upcoming weekend will be 95 to 100. All 3 days. Saturday and Sunday, actual highs are in the mid-90s. We're not used to that. So we have not had that hot weather. In fact, Tuesday will be the first day above 90 in St. Louis. That's over in Edwardsville. No sprinkles or showers there yet either. But we do have some rain down in southeast Missouri. Some of that's been a bit heavier farther to our south. As it's drifting to the north, all we're seeing really on the radar, just these sprinkles and very light showers pushing towards the metro area. And they're tending to fade a bit as they nudge towards St. Louis at this hour. With the clouds across the area, and even if we do see a couple of spritzes or sprinkles, it's a more muggy night. We're going to stay in the 60s to around 70 for lows tonight. Our high today was 84, a bit below average for this time of year. Here's a look at your futurecast taking us into tomorrow. Again, through the overnight hours, most of the showers, what of them there are, will be to the south of St. Louis. Now, during the day tomorrow, we may see some more development. Showers, some brief downpours southeast of St. Louis. That's your best shot at it, and then it's going to move off to the east. As we go into Tuesday, while we may still see a shower or thunderstorm here, it doesn't look like it has the potential to be severe on Tuesday. Not for us. But as we look back to the west, we'll be tracking the development of strong to severe thunderstorms, especially here in parts of Kansas. What happens with this effectively determines what happens with us on Wednesday. We know the instability is going to be there. The storm energy is definitely there. We have some jet stream winds to work with this system. The question is just how warm will we actually get ahead of this front? Will we have clouds in the morning from those thunderstorms out to our west in the overnight hours? Could they even produce some morning rain? Would that limit our activity in the afternoon? Those are all scenarios we still have to work out. But for the time being, that threat does exist on Wednesday where we'll see some strong to severe thunderstorms. So make sure you're checking back in on the forecast so we can keep you updated. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially from the metro south and southeast. I think sunshine's going to be awfully limited tomorrow, which holds us in the low to mid 80s for highs. First 90-degree day of the year coming on Tuesday. We'll get a bunch more starting Friday into the weekend. And our Weather Impact Alert Day on Wednesday for the potential of those strong to severe thunderstorms, mainly late in the day and during the evening.
It's time to go on the move. I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis. And you're going to want to hear this one if you travel I-170. Crews are replacing the I-170 bridge over Purcell Road. That means big changes for your commute. The eastbound I-270 ramp to southbound 170 will be shut down starting now through September. That's right, all summer long. You'll need to take a different route. Here's what to do. Stay on I-270 eastbound towards Washington Elizabeth and just look for that U-turn ramp to the westbound 270 area. And there's more. Purcell Road between Hanley and Hazelwood is dropping down to one lane from 5 p.m. to 2 p.m. the next day. That's nearly 24 hours of tight traffic. Follow signs through Hazelwood Avenue for the detour. Bottom line, this construction will slow you down, so leave early, expect delays, and bring your patience. Stay safe out there. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Israel and Iran launch more attacks on each other, how U.S. officials are trying to push for peace. Developing tonight, Israeli officials say they've asked Iran to stop the attacks and restart nuclear negotiations. Iran launched another massive missile attack against cities in Israel overnight. Officials say at least 13 people were killed and more than 370 people were injured. Israel's military has also increased attacks, targeting more Iranian oil depots, missile systems, and pieces of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. U.S. officials say they're now pushing for more help to get these negotiations back on track.
There is the possibility of diplomacy in the meantime The United States ought to provide the means for Israel to defend against this Iranian retaliation.
Diplomacy fails, Mr. President. President Trump, you've been great. Help Israel finish the job. Give them bombs, fly with them if necessary.
Iran's Ministry of Health says more than 200 people have been killed there since the fighting started. Tonight, U.S. officials tell NBC News President Donald Trump rejected a plan from Israel to assassinate Iran's supreme leader. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismissed the quote as false reports. The rejection comes as Iran threatens to attack U.S. military installations if it continues to help Israel. Tonight, Salt Lake City police are investigating a shooting at a No Kings protest. City officials say around 10,000 people were part of the demonstration. Police say one person suffered life-threatening injuries. Officers arrested 3 people in connection with the shooting. The local police chief says they're working to find out if the shooting had anything to do with the event.
Prior to leading up to the shooting, were very peaceful. The event organizers worked closely with us at the Salt Lake City here at Salt Lake City, and up until the point of the shooting, there was no indication of any problems.
Police say many protesters helped track down the suspects. Police in Denver arrested over 30 people during a No Kings protest. Police say protesters were warned to stay off a local highway. That's when officers say protesters started throwing rocks and bottles at them. Close to 20 people are now charged with resisting arrest and unlawful throwing of projectiles. After the break, how one group is combining Juneteenth celebrations with Father's Day festivities. In celebration of Father's Day, families came out for a play date at City Jump Entertainment Complex in North County. This was put together by Bridge the Gap and also celebrates Juneteenth. Dads and kids got to shoot hoops, go bowling, have some fun in the arcade. Organizers say they wanted to celebrate the strength, love, and leadership of local dads. And Scott has one final check of our weather.
Well, we are tracking just a few scattered light showers, trying to push into St. Louis tonight. These are spritzes and sprinkles, not going to be much to them, although there's a little downpour back towards Rolla at this point. That's with that upper level system that's just kind of rotating our way. It'll give us another chance of some showers and some rumbles for tomorrow. Low to mid 80s for highs tomorrow. We're boosting into the 90s for the first time on Tuesday, and Wednesday is our weather impact alert day for the potential of some stronger storms, especially late in the day into Wednesday evening. So stick with us through the rest of the week, and we'll keep you updated on that and the upcoming heat next weekend.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. Remember, we're always streaming on 5+, and don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 4 a.m. Frank Cusimano is next with Sports Plus.